The distress call echoed through the void, desperate, raw, and final. Underscore, this is Commander E.L. Vor of the Xiphosian Defense Fleet. We are overrun. Shields have collapsed. Strongholds reduced to rubble. There will be no survivors. To any who hear this, they are coming. Underscore. Then silence. The message hurtled across the stars, past indifferent planets, and the drifting bones of dead civilizations. Hundreds of species received it. Most ignored it. Xiphos. 9 was already lost. Another footnote in the slow, inevitable expansion of the Vortak Empire. But then, deep in human-controlled space, aboard the UNS Retribution, Admiral Grant listened. His jaw clenched as he replayed the call. There was something in the alien's voice, not just fear, but acceptance. A man who had already seen his death and simply sent out one last scream into the void. He exhaled sharply. Set course for Xiphos 9. Full burn. A junior officer hesitated. Sir, we don't have orders to. Grant's gaze cut through him like a blade. We don't need orders. We're Deathworlders. We answer when no one else will. The Retribution surged forward. Xiphos 9 was dying. The once glorious capital lay in ruins, its towering crystalline spires shattered and burning. The streets, carved from iridescent stone, were now slick with the blood of its defenders. The Xiphosians had fought bravely. It hadn't mattered. At the heart of the carnage, Commander Aelvor staggered, one arm pressed against a deep gash in his side. The ground trembled beneath him as a Vortak war machine, a four-legged behemoth bristling with plasma cannons, took aim at the last of his soldiers. Fall back, he roared, but there was nowhere left to retreat. Aelvor turned skyward. Somewhere out there, someone must have heard their plea. Someone had to be coming, but the sky remained empty. Then a sound like thunder split the heavens. A massive tear, in reality, formed above the battlefield, swirling with unstable energy. From within, the UNS Retribution dropped from subspace, its hull blackened by 1,000 past battles. It did not slow down. It fell like the sword of a vengeful god, its descent shaking the atmosphere. Admiral Grant stood on the bridge, arms crossed, gaze cold. Below, the Xiphosian capital burned, its defenders making their final, futile stand. The battlefield unfolded in real time across the tactical display. Vortak war machines advancing, crushing resistance beneath them. The humans were late, but not too late. Grant activated the comms. All right, you call for monsters. Here we are. The Retribution's underbelly split open. Dropships peeled away, descending like hunting birds. Their hulls glowed red-hot from atmospheric entry before thrusters kicked in, guiding them toward the heart of the slaughter. On board, Sergeant Cole adjusted his exosuit, rolling his shoulders as the dropship rattled. He looked around at his squad, hardened killers, every one of them. Soldiers forged in the worst hellscapes humanity had to offer. All right, boys, Cole growled, locking his rifle into place. Let's introduce these bastards to human hospitality. The doors yawned open, and they jumped. Cole hit the ground first, rolling to absorb the impact. Around him, his squad deployed, weapons raised, targeting systems locking on to the nearest threats. The first wave of gunfire was almost casual, controlled bursts, precise headshots. The Vortak had expected resistance. They had not expected this. Humans did not fight like the Xiphosians. There was no formation, no honor, no hesitation. They fought like predators, like something wild that had been let off its leash. A Vortak officer, towering over the battlefield, bared his fangs in irritation. Kill them, he snarled. The war machines adjusted their targeting. Plasma cannons roared, and the ground shook as high-impact rounds tore into buildings. Cole and his squad dove for cover behind the smoking ruins of a Xiphosian barricade. A corporal wiped sweat from his brow. Well, this is a hell of a welcome party. Quit whining, Cole snapped, slamming a fresh charge into his rifle. At least they rolled out the red carpet. A shell detonated nearby, sending debris raining down. The corporal coughed. Yeah, it's real nice of them. Above, the Retribution repositioned, lining up its main cannon. The ship's AI calculated optimal trajectory. In the span of 3 seconds, the decision was made. A single shot fired. The battlefield erupted. A shockwave rippled outward, shattering the front lines. The Vortak war machines, unstoppable just moments before, were ripped apart like toys in a hurricane. Commander Elvor shielded his eyes, blinking rapidly to clear the dust and smoke. When he looked again, he barely believed what he saw. The Vortak were retreating. Panic spread through their ranks as human forces pushed forward. These weren't reinforcements. These were predators, and the Vortak had made the fatal mistake of bleeding before them. Elvor exhaled. By the gods. Behind him, a human soldier crouched next to a dead Vortak, nudging the body with his boot. Damn, he muttered, these things would make great rugs. Sergeant Cole smirked. You volunteering to skin him? I mean, I ain't saying no. The radio crackled, cutting through their moment of amusement. Admiral Grant's voice. Enough playing around, he said. Let's end this. Cole's expression hardened. He looked at his squad, then toward the broken battlefield. This was far from over. The battle for Xiphos 9 had only just begun. A Vortak warlord does not retreat. The words were carved into the minds of every officer, every soldier, every creature that bore the insignia of the Empire. Vortak did not surrender, they did not falter, and they never fled the battlefield. Yet here, on the war-torn streets of Xiphos 9, they were running. The mighty war machines, once heralded as the instruments of planetary annihilation, now lay in smoking heaps. The precision formations of their ground troops had been shattered, their disciplined advances replaced with panicked retreat. For the first time in this war, the unbreakable ranks of the Vortak were broken, and the humans were still coming. Sergeant Cole moved through the rubble, boots crunching over shattered stone and bodies alike. His squad advanced in a tight formation, sweeping for any lingering resistance. Smoke curled from the wreckage, choking the air, but he barely noticed. His rifle was warm against his shoulder, barrel blackened from overuse. The Vortak had underestimated them. That much was obvious. Maybe they had expected humanity to act like the Xiphosians. Calculated, strategic, predictable. But humans were none of those things. Humans fought dirty. A motion sensor in his visor flickered red. Enemy signatures ahead. He raised a fist, signaling the squad to halt. They ducked behind cover, pressing against the remnants of a collapsed building. Cole peered over the edge and spotted them. A squad of Vortak holed up inside the remains of a Xiphosian temple. They were regrouping, setting up defenses, preparing for a last stand. Cole keyed his comms. Got some stragglers up ahead, fortified position. Orders. Admiral Grant's voice crackled through his earpiece. No survivors. Cole smirked. Copy that. He motioned to his squad, giving them the silent command. They knew the drill. This wasn't going to be a fight. It was going to be an execution. The squad fanned out, flanking the temple ruins. The Vortak hadn't even seen them yet. These creatures, so used to standing tall above lesser species, didn't realize that they were the prey now. Cole exhaled slowly, then whispered into his comm, "Go." Gunfire erupted. The first volley tore through the Vortak defenses before they even had a chance to react. Plasma burst from the humans' rifles, melted armor, shattered stone, and sent bodies tumbling to the ground. A Vortak officer tried to rally his troops, barking orders in his guttural language. It didn't matter. A sniper round punched through his skull, silencing him mid-command. The rest of them collapsed into disarray. It was over in under a minute. Cole stepped over the bodies, nudging one with his boot to make sure it was dead. The Vortak officer's corpse twitched slightly, and one of the younger soldiers in Cole's squad jumped back. Jesus, these things don't know when to quit, the soldier muttered. Cole snorted. Yeah, they're like cockroaches. Except cockroaches don't usually vaporize cities. The young soldier gave a nervous chuckle. I don't know, I've seen some bad infestations. Remind me to never visit your apartment. They pushed forward. The battle wasn't over yet. The deeper they moved into the city, the clearer it became that the Vortak weren't just losing, they were breaking. Entire battalions had been abandoned mid-deployment, their weapons and vehicles left behind as their troops fled. But the humans knew better than to celebrate early. Desperation made enemies dangerous. And nowhere was that more evident than in the war-torn heart of the capital, where the true fight was about to begin. Admiral Grant stood aboard the UNS Retribution, overseeing the battle from orbit. His face remained unreadable as the latest report streamed in. The humans were winning. That was undeniable. But something felt off. The Vortak had retreated too quickly. They had crumbled under pressure faster than expected. It was almost as if they had planned to fall back. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. The ship's AI spoke, its voice eerily calm. "Admiral, we have detected an anomaly beneath the capital. A subterranean energy surge consistent with high-yield weapons activation." Grant's expression darkened. "Show me." A holographic display materialized before him, revealing seismic readings and energy spikes deep beneath the surface. The readings were unmistakable. A bomb. A big one. Grant's voice was ice. "Give me coal." The sergeant's voice crackled in. "Sir, change of plans," Grant said. "The Vortak aren't retreating. They're luring us in." Cole's eyes narrowed. "They're planning to take the whole city with them, aren't they?" "That would be my guess." Cole exhaled sharply. Hell of a sore loser move. "No more jokes," Grant snapped. "Find that bomb. Disarm it. Or get the hell out of there." Cole turned to his squad. "You heard the man. We're moving." They sprinted through the ruins, urgency replacing the thrill of battle. The Vortak were willing to sacrifice everything just to keep Xiphos 9 from falling into human hands. And if that bomb went off, they would succeed. Vor, still bleeding but refusing to fall behind, struggled to keep pace with the human soldiers. He had spent his life thinking he understood war, but these humans, they were something else. He glanced at Cole. If the Vortak have committed to this, they will guard the bomb with everything they have. Cole gave him a sharp grin. "Good. That'll make him easier to find." There was no time for more words. Because ahead of them, nestled in the shattered remains of the Xiphosian palace, they saw it. The bomb. Massive, alien, pulsating with unstable energy. And standing between them and it, the last remnants of the Vortak war host. They were outnumbered. Heavily. But Cole just cracked his knuckles. "All right," he muttered, locking his rifle into place. "Guess we're doing this the hard way." The countdown had already begun. Bright red numbers flickered across the alien device, each second bringing them closer to annihilation. The bomb was massive, easily the size of a dropship, its surface a web of glowing conduits and pulsating energy. It was a weapon meant to erase entire cities, maybe even the entire planet, and it was ticking down at an unsettling pace. Sergeant Cole didn't hesitate. "We move now." His squad surged forward, their rifles barking fire. The last of the Vortak war host responded in kind, their plasma bolts slicing through the air, scorching the rubble around them. Unlike the soldiers they had fought earlier, these Vortak were different. They did not run. They did not hesitate. They held their ground with the grim determination of warriors who knew they were already dead. Because they weren't just defending the bomb. They were protecting it. Cole dove behind cover as a plasma bolt sizzled past his helmet. He risked a glance at the countdown, just over 10 minutes left. Too little time for comfort. "Grant, we found the bomb," he barked into the comms. "Heavy resistance. These bastards aren't letting us through easy." Admiral Grant's voice was sharp. "Then make them." Cole gritted his teeth and nodded to his squad. "Push forward. No prisoners." They advanced like a tidal wave, their weapons spitting fire. A Vortak warrior lunged at Cole, its jagged blade arcing toward his throat. He twisted, caught the alien's arm, and drove his combat knife between its ribs. The creature gurgled, dark blood spilling from its maw, but Cole had already moved on, firing 2 rounds into another attacker before it could raise its weapon. To his right, Private Diaz grinned as he ducked behind a collapsed column, reloading his rifle. "You ever get the feeling these guys don't like us?" Corporal Haynes snorted as he tossed a grenade over the barricade. "Can't imagine why." The explosion tore through the Vortak line, sending bodies flying. Smoke and debris filled the air, but Cole didn't stop. He vaulted over a ruined statue, his squad following close behind. Vor, struggling to keep pace, fired his own weapon with grim efficiency. His people have lost everything, but somehow, fighting alongside these humans, he felt something strange. Hope. The last line of Vortak fell, their bodies crumpling to the ground. But Cole didn't have time to celebrate. The bomb's countdown had dipped under 5 minutes. All right, he muttered, approaching the device. Now what? Vor stepped beside him, eyes scanning the alien technology. His voice was tight. This is beyond me. Yeah, well, that's real reassuring, Cole grumbled. He activated his command. We're at the bomb. It's big, it's ugly, and it's still ticking. We need a solution. Grant's voice came back almost instantly. Uploading what we know about Vortak weapon systems to your HUD now. Stand by. A second later, complex diagrams and schematics flooded Cole's visor. He exhaled sharply. You gotta be kidding me. You expect me to defuse this? Unless you'd prefer it to go off, Grant replied dryly. Cole rolled his shoulders. All right, fine. But if I blow up, I'm haunting your ass. He knelt by the bomb, hands moving carefully over the alien tech. The entire device hummed, as if it were alive, waiting to unleash its destruction. Behind him, his squad kept watch. Diaz tapped his rifle anxiously. You know, if this goes wrong, at least we won't have to fill out paperwork. Yeah, Haynes muttered, but I was hoping to at least die drunk. Shut up, both of you, Cole snapped. I need to concentrate. The bomb's interface was unlike anything he had seen before, its controls pulsing in eerie patterns. He followed the schematics as best he could, cutting wires and rerouting circuits. 3 minutes left. Sweat beaded on his forehead. One wrong move, and they were all vaporized. 2 minutes. Vor crouched beside him. Can you do this? Cole out a sharp breath. Hell if I know. 1 minute. A final wire. A single connection keeping the bomb's core stable. Cole hesitated. His gut screamed at him to cut it, but something fell off. 30 seconds. His fingers hovered over the wire. Every instinct told him this was wrong. Then he saw it. An auxiliary power loop hidden beneath the surface. Cutting the wire wouldn't shut the bomb down. It would trigger it. His pulse hammered. Son of a... He rerouted the connection instead, overriding the failsafe. The countdown flickered, sputtered, and stopped. Silence. Cole exhaled and slumped against the bomb. Holy hell. Diaz let out a breathless laugh. So we're not dead. Not today, Cole muttered, wiping his face. Grant's voice crackled over the comms. Report. Cole smirked. Bombs disarmed. City's ours. There was a pause. Then Grant's voice softened, just slightly. Good work, Sergeant. Cole looked around at his squad, at Vor, at the ruined city beyond them. It wasn't over yet, but they had won the battle. Smoke coiled into the sky, thick and black, blotting out the stars. The streets of Xiphos, 9 were silent now, save for the distant crackle of fire and the occasional groan of shifting rubble. The battle was over. The city, or what remained of it, was theirs. Sergeant Cole stood beside the massive, lifeless bomb, his hands still resting on the alien metal. His pulse had slowed, the adrenaline fading, leaving behind only exhaustion. He should have felt relief, maybe even satisfaction. Instead, he felt empty. The Vortak had chosen death over surrender. Every single one of them had fought to the last breath, defending a bomb meant to erase the battlefield entirely. They hadn't been trying to win. They had been trying to deny. Even in defeat, they had clung to their cause, refusing to let anyone else claim victory. And in the end, that was what unsettled him most. Vor stepped up beside him, surveying the destruction. His once proud city was now a graveyard, its towering spires reduced to crumbling ruins. He had fought for this moment, yet now that it had arrived, he looked as lost as Cole felt. This is what victory looks like, Vor said quietly. Cole exhaled. Yeah, hell of a view, huh? A silence stretched between them, heavy and unspoken. There was no celebration, no cheers, no triumphant music, just the weight of what had been done. The comms crackled to life. Admiral Grant's voice cut through the stillness. Sergeant, report. Cole tapped his earpiece. Bombs defused. Enemy forces neutralized. We're securing the area. Casualties? Cole glanced around. Too many bodies. Too many good soldiers lost. Higher than they should be, he admitted. There was a pause. Then Grant spoke again, his voice unreadable. Understood. Reinforcements are inbound to establish full control of the city. Your squad will be extracted shortly. Cole nodded, even though Grant couldn't see him. Copy that. The channel went dead. Vor turned to him. And what happens now? Cole looked out over the ruins. The fires would die down. The bodies would be buried. Another flag, one that did not belong to the Vortac, would be planted in the broken ground. And then, someone else would come. Someone else would fight. He shrugged. Same thing that always happens. We move on to the next fight. Vor studied him for a long moment. And does it ever end? Cole hesitated. He wanted to say yes. He wanted to believe that wars had an end, that there was something beyond bloodshed and broken cities. But the truth was, he didn't know. A dropship rumbled overhead, descending through the smoke-filled sky. Its engines sent gusts of hot air whipping through the ruins, scattering ash like snow. The rescue teams were arriving, bringing medical aid, supplies, reinforcements. But Cole barely noticed them. He turned away from the wreckage, stepping toward his squad. They were tired, bruised, bloodied, but alive. That was enough. For now.